Story 1. I am fairly new to the work world, having only been working for about 5.5 months at the time of writing. I work at a car wash. The confusion comes from my uniform top, which happens to share partial coloration with red. After work, I walk home. It takes me on average 20 to 30 minutes to get home, and I usually stop at a grocery store to get drinks and other items. One day, I forgot to change out of my uniform and was still wearing the shirt and apron I am required to wear. The uniform of the grocery store was a button-up of a few different colors, so there was a distinct difference. I went to the drink aisle and started to think about what I would get when I felt a tug on my sleeve. I looked to see the typical difficult customer, only a little shorter. Coming up to my chest, I am 5 feet 10 inches tall. I stood back, thinking that I was taking up space in the aisle. But that seemingly wasn't the problem. The problem ensued as follows. Difficult customer. Excuse me, you're out of soda brand, and I was wondering if you could go in the back to get some more. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work here, I replied as I continued looking at drinks. Of course you do. Now go get me the soda. No, I don't. I pointed at the car wash logo on my shirt, but she completely ignored it. Give me your name because I am going to complain to your manager. The manager of the car wash was on vacation in Hawaii. I won't give you my name. You don't need my name, I said, fully facing her and whispering, I don't work here. You do need to give me your name. No, I don't. Now please, I just wanna. Give me your name now. The difficult customer was screeching loudly when an employee, who happens to be a friend of mine, came down the aisle. The employee said, I'm hearing a commotion. What seems to be the problem here? I went to open my mouth when she started ranting about how I was being rude, lazy, and should be fired because the customer was always right. My friend tried to explain to the difficult customer that I did not, in fact, work there, but she was just not having it. I demand to speak with your manager about this employee. Please do not yell. There are other customers besides yourself and him. He is not a customer, he is a worker. Now get me the manager or I will have both of your jobs. The employee got the manager and the difficult customer went off and told even bigger lies about my friend and me. The manager tried to explain that I don't work there. She grabbed my collar with both hands and threw me towards the manager, knocking him over. He told his employee to call the police. The difficult customer then freaked out and bolted for the door, but fell over because running in heels is a bad idea. She was arrested for assault, and I got out of there with my drink for free, so I had an interesting day. Story 2. This happened about 5 years ago. I had worked at this exact store previously, so I was familiar with how their system worked. We have me, a 23-year-old female, a difficult customer, a 40-something-year-old female, and the sales assistant, a male in his late teens or early 20s. I was waiting in line at a well-known book stationery store in my local mall, buying a card and gift wrap. The difficult customer was in front of me, arguing with the boy at the register because she wanted to know if they had a book in stock. The book was in stock, but only available when ordered from the online store as it was old and no longer being sold in store. So the difficult customer would need to purchase it herself online. When ordering from this company's online store, it will be shipped to the address of your choice via courier. Of course, this comes with additional shipping costs. The difficult customer, however, seemed to think this meant he could order the book in, and she would be able to pick it up the next day. That is not the case, as the store, while operating under the same company name, is completely different. Thus, the argument begins. Difficult customer. Well, can't you just order it in? Sales assistant. Sorry, our system doesn't allow us to do that. Yes, it does. I've done it before. Sorry, since the company is under new ownership, all stores are separate now, including the online store. It's the same company, you're just being lazy. Sorry, you will need to order it yourself online. They went back and forth a couple of times before I spoke up. Me. He's right, that's not how the system works. The difficult customer turned and glared at me and said, Do you work here? Me. No, I did work here a year ago. That's how I know how the system works. But you work in the mall. She then proceeded to look over my clothes for a name tag or uniform logo. Nope, nice try though, I said as I unzipped my jacket so she could get a better look at my civilian clothes. Well, where do you work? That's literally none of your business. Yes, it is. Your employer should know how you behave in public. Me, insert surprised face. Me. Actually, that's not how the world works, lady. At this point, you could see the frustration building inside her as she realized she had no power over me. I, too, noticed at this point that I was in a unique position where I could call this lady out for basically being inconsiderate, and there's nothing she could do about it, or so I thought. The difficult customer, with a smug look on her face, then said, "Well, you probably don't even have a job." "Yeah, I'm not falling for that," I replied. She was obviously trying to bait me into telling her. "You can think what you want, lady, but at the end of the day, I'm not the person whose only sense of control in the world is threatening a person's livelihood to get what they want. You know you're not being a good person, right?" The difficult customer, absolutely fuming at this point, stormed off. I then proceeded to pay for my card and gift wrap while having a laugh with the sales assistant at the register about what just happened. Now, you would think this is the end of my encounter with the difficult customer, but oh no, she still thought I worked in the mall. So as I left the store, I stopped and got a coffee from the small kiosk cafe just outside. I noticed the difficult customer was watching me, and I kid you not, this person continued to follow me into every single store I entered and asked the person behind the register if I worked there. At this point, I was thinking I couldn't go back to my car because she would get my license plate numbers and be able to look up my information and then stalk me. I ended up calling a taxi and going to see my dad, who lived about 10 minutes up the road, and got him to take me back to my car an hour later. Sorry it's kind of long, but this was my best difficult customary don't work here lady encounter. Story 3. I work at a rent-to-own furniture store right down the road from a large retail chain store, so come payday, I usually go straight to the retail store after clocking out. Our uniforms are made up of black pants or jeans and various blue shirts. However, our shirts have the company logo embroidered on the top left near the collar. I've been mistaken for an employee a few times, but most people just laugh it off when I tell them I don't work for the retail store. Yesterday, though, this difficult customer wasn't having it. Last night, I was finishing up some last-minute Christmas and grocery shopping. I hung around in the electronics section for a little while, waiting for an employee to come help me as I've been interested in getting a new phone. But it's the holiday season, and they were absolutely swamped. No big deal. I go to push my cart, filled with a few presents and groceries, and I honestly just want to get out of there because the customer traffic is getting to be a little too much for me. Thanks to my crippling social anxiety, I don't do crowds. I'm trying to gently push past this woman, but she and her cart are right in the middle of the aisle, taking up as much space as she possibly could, and I barely ding the corner of it. "Excuse you," she says, reeling back and regaining her balance as if I hit her with a brick. "Oh, sorry," I mumble. I try to push past her again. "I've been waiting here forever," she complained. She'd been waiting there maybe a minute. She certainly hadn't been there when I got there just a few minutes before. "There's a video game I need you to get for me." In case you don't know, this retail store keeps all of their video games in locked glass cabinets, and you need an employee to unlock it for you so they can grab the video game and immediately bring you over to check out. The same goes for controllers, consoles, and accessories. I point to the logo on my shirt. "I actually don't work here. I work at company name." The difficult customer sighed and tapped her foot. "I don't care if you're on break or whatever, just get me video game." "I can't. I don't work here. You'll have to get an employee." "You are an employee," the difficult customer says, getting louder. "No, I'm a customer, shopping, just like you. I'll be going now." I try, once again, to push past her. I know the manager of this store, and they won't be happy to hear that their employee is being rather disobedient. This woman rammed her cart into mine to stop me from walking beside her. Instead, I try to turn around and leave that way. She's not having it. "I demand to speak to your manager." I'm on the verge of crying at this point. I just want out of this situation. My manager is at home, and I don't work here. I just want to check out and go home. This is what sets her off, and when the shouting begins, I just want video game for my son. It's for Christmas. Why do you want to ruin Christmas for me and my family? I'm sobbing now. I can't handle people raising their voice at me. I don't work here, I cry at her. Yes, you do. Get me video game. One of the employees in the electronics department finally got through the line of people they were checking out and came over to investigate. He looks at me, sobbing like a child, and then to the difficult customer, and his shoulders slump, like he knows what's going on. What seems to be the problem here, he asks me. I try my best to explain that this unreasonable person is shouting at me and somehow thinks I'm an employee, but I'm blubbering and I can't get too many words out, so the difficult customer takes it upon herself to tell the employee what happened. Your coworker here is being extremely rude. She's been using inappropriate language at me and slammed her cart into mine several times to get me to move. I asked her to get video game for me, but she told me to walk off. No, I yell, but that's really all I can manage to choke out. The employee looks down at my shirt and sighs. Ma'am, this young lady doesn't work here. She's an employee at company name. The difficult customer puts her hands on her hips and rolls her eyes so hard I thought they might roll right on out of their sockets. I just need someone to get me video game, for goodness sake. The employee leans on my shopping cart. We're pretty busy over here. I don't know if you are aware, but Christmas is in just 2 days. I'm sorry that we were unable to get to you in a timely manner, but being impatient isn't an excuse to verbally abuse other customers just because their shirts happen to be blue. You people are insufferable. I'll have you know that I am friends with the manager, and he will be hearing about this. I'll be taking my business to the video game store. She starts to walk away, and I think that's the end of it, but no. For her finale, the difficult customer pushes her cart over, sending everything that was in it skidding and sliding across the floor. She stormed off, like difficult customers do, but not before the employee could wish her a happy holiday. I thanked the employee as soon as I could get the tears to stop flowing, and I checked out as fast as I could. Story 4. This happened earlier today at a Target-like store in India. For the record, store workers wear black polos with orange collars and the name of the store embroidered in the same orange, black pants, and orange masks. Now, I went there today to get supplies wearing a bright yellow floral blouse, a blue floral face mask, and blue ripped jeans. As I'm carefully trying to take my cart to the checkout counter, a lady zips across me and cuts me in line. Now, because of her speed in cutting across from me, I didn't see her, and my cart hit her accidentally. I immediately apologize. I'm sorry because my cart hit you, so I'm sorry even if it wasn't actually my fault because you were cutting in line. But this lady starts yelling at me. Lady, are you blind? Me. I am sorry, ma'am, but you came in front of me. Watch where you're going. I don't know where these people come from. Who hired you? I expect to see the manager. Ma'am, I am a customer just like you. I don't work here. Furthermore, I'd recommend not dashing across crowded stores if you don't want someone to hit you. You uncouth person. At this point, I wore my headphones and walked over to another counter, and the lady starts complaining, still shouting to her cashier. Lady, do you have no protocol as to how you hire people? I demand to see a manager. Cashier. Ma'am, she's not an employee, and you did cut in line. I've had it with you people. I need a discount for your rude behavior. I demand to see a manager. By this point, my cashier has already called for a manager and has finished processing my items. The manager comes, unbeknownst to us. She's seen the entire incident. She walks over to me first and says, I'm sorry, ma'am. On behalf of the store, you get 10% off on your total order, and motions to my cashier to process the discount. The manager then heads over to the lady. Lady, your employees are not only blind but also rude. Manager. Sorry, ma'am, but the ma'am in the yellow is not an employee but a customer, as you can see. Our uniforms are very different. I'm sorry, but we cannot issue you a discount, but I can recommend an excellent eye doctor to you. And the manager walks away. I don't know what happened after because I was done paying and had to exit. Otherwise, I'd have held up the line. Story 5. I'm a lady in my late 30s. My style is feminine and slightly dressier than many. I also like makeup and jewelry and frequently wear both. I probably look like a difficult customer actually. So I'm somewhat professionally dressed and shopping at the cosmetics counter at the local department store rhymes with Tracy's. A late teenage or college-age girl is also there and spills her drink. She looks at me apologetically and says, "Oh, I'll clean it up." I shrug sympathetically at her because it's utterly not my problem. No employees in sight at the moment. The well-behaved teen goes and gets some paper towels from the restroom and is wiping up the drink spill. Along comes oblivious difficult customer. I have moved slightly farther away at this point, but still within earshot. The difficult customer sees the flustered teenager cleaning up a spill. She loudly clears her throat and taps her toes. Difficult customer, "Excuse me." Teen girl, "Oh, sorry, I spilled this, and I'm just trying to wipe it up." "Well, I need help now." "I'm sure someone will be over in a second." "I'm late for my appointment, and I left my X makeup product at home, and I need X specific product right away, so leave that and go get it for me." The teen attempts to explain that she literally can't, as she doesn't work here, which almost certainly implies that she doesn't have the keys to the makeup cases. The difficult customer is having none of it, telling her to go get someone who is less useless, etc. The teen looks helplessly in my direction, which also directs the difficult customer's stare at me. At this point, I realize they both think I do work here, and that the difficult customer at least thinks that I supervise this younger person. I had actually just decided that I was going to try to call off this unreasonable person myself and had started moving in their direction. The difficult customer sees in me a kindred spirit who will help properly chastise this impertinent servant. Like a gift from above, I have sudden mischievous inspiration. I put on my best customer service voice. "Oh, sweetie, I'm so very sorry, but we are completely sold out of X product. I think it might be coming in the shipment we are getting next week. Now I live in a small town. The only local source for upscale makeup is Tracy's. Your only other options are around the blue and red big box stores, so if they don't have it here, she is out of luck for getting it immediately anywhere nearby. Best of luck." The difficult customer has a brief delicious rant about what a stupid store it is that can't keep her very important makeup in stock. Then she stalks off in a huff. Poor teenager trying to explain herself. "I'm sorry, I think she thought I worked here." I smile at the teenager. "Yeah, I don't work here either."